This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The word unconditional means the opposite of a condition, or tanai, right? You do something with the tanai. I'll do this for you if you'll do this back for me. There's unconditional love and there's unconditional chinuch. What does unconditional chinuch mean? I was thinking that the word chen, we daven every morning, we say chiz v'chaneini v'rachem aleini. What does chaneini, chuneinu, what does chaneini mean? Hashem should have rachmunus on us, but it comes from a illusion from chen. Not because we deserve it. We ask Hashem that Hashem should answer our tefillas, not because we deserve it. Al chaim chayin v'chesed shechoin antuni. What is choin antuni? If Hashem gives us something because we have chen, sometimes our little child has chen in our eyes, favor in our eyes, he wants something, and he says, Tati, please, Mommy, please, I want to have it. He has a pesachayin. He says, okay, shoy nemes. You told a few minutes ago, he said, you're not giving it to the child, but it's not chayin. Chayin is a wichtige Sache. So we daven to Hashem that we should have chen in His eyes. How does that work? We deserve or we don't deserve. What if one person has chen? You remember when we grew up in classroom, we always felt that the teacher has a pet, right? We used to say that this kid, the teacher's always picking on this kid and always giving space for the other. What does that mean? Chen is melusha chinam. It does not mean for nothing. It means for nothing in return. Chen does not mean for nothing. It means for nothing in return. When a baby is born, when we have our children, we have our little ones, and we say that the kinder, they have a moedige chayin. Hashem puts in a moedige chayin in the baby, a little child. We love them, push it. We get nothing back at the moment, nothing. We just love them the way they are. There's a moedige chayin. We don't need anything in return. But what happens is, as they grow older, we start appreciating the feedback we get from the school, from the teachers, from other people. Wow, your child did this, your child did that. So we are starting to get nachas. What does nachas mean? What is the word nachas? Nachas means pleasure. It's the wrong touch, but that's what we say. I have pleasure from this child. This child grew up a dayan, a roof, and chabazah pleasure from their kid because this kid is bringing me pleasure. But that's not really what nachas is. Nachas is when you hold something and you put it down. You don't have to carry it anymore. Nuchas, nachas riach. Nuchas means putting down. We have to carry our children. We're putting a chinuch to them. And then when they grow up and we see have nachas means I could stop carrying this child. This child is turning out to do the right things. It does not mean that I am getting pleasure from this child. It means that I could start letting loose a little bit. I'm seeing this child is becoming independent. The child is doing right choices. That's what nachas riach means. But most of us are guilty of using the word nachas. It's a pleasure. I have such nachas in this kid. Just that a shidduch with this child, the most beautiful family, such a nachas. It's me, serving me, my ego. I am having nachas. We turned around the word nachas. Chinuch is the lush of a chen. It's the same exact thing as chinam. The moment we bring a child to this world, we have to become extremely selfless. And our children and our kids help us do it very quickly. We become extremely selfless when we deal with our kid in pain. We become mamish selfless because we don't get any nachas, we don't get any pleasure or people looking up at us, we don't get any, our ego does not get fed from it. Adrab, it's the opposite. So, what does chinuch mean? Chinuch means unconditional chinuch. I always say there's a matnas chinam and there's a matnas chinuch. A matana is if you give something, you don't want anything in return. Tzedakah, You give something. You don't want anything in return. Amatuna, dosta, l'shem shamayim. That's what chinuch is. So people think, many of us, including myself, we started learning this when we had our own kipp. And we started learning that chinuch is unconditional. It's unconditional love, unconditional chinuch. Every child needs unconditional chinuch. In their own way. As I was talking to someone before the shir, and the people, we're talking about not just the kipp, we're talking about the siblings. How many times we give to our kipp, we give them extras, and we listen to them, and we give them, and then the other kid comes to you and says, I have a daughter, a teacher in school, and she comes to me just a couple of weeks ago, and she says, I drove her to school, she says, Tati, I want to tell you something what I learned in teaching. So many teachers are very busy with the good, there's the Gitte kinder in the class, that the ones that listen and always no problem. But then you have the average, and then you have the troublemakers, the kids that don't have patience to sit through class. So she says, so many teachers give so much extra for the trouble kids, they forget to appreciate the good ones. And sometimes it makes them feel underappreciated, and they think like, why in the world am I being so good? I'm not getting any extra attention. And she says, and that's how I feel when you deal with my brother, the kipp. That was her way of telling it to me. It was a big ouch moment. So that was also an opportunity, an invitation to get into the conversation of understanding why I need to do a little extra for this kid and for that kid. And for her, I couldn't do certain things. Baruch Hashem, she was able to understand it. It was good. It was a good moment. Sometimes when we're thrown into such a place, we could get caught off guard and we think like we lost it. The opposite. This is an opportunity. This is a good moment to actually open conversation. There was a Yid from Yerushalayim that came to America, came collecting, had to make chasana, and he knows that this Gevir house, he saw there's a big nice house, and he knocks on the door, and nobody answers, so he rings the bell, and someone asks him on the other side, and so I said, who's there? And he says, tzedukah. And the guy answered, leave it in the mailbox. Sometimes we think we are giving tzedukah, we're giving the matnas chinuch for these kids. They came to give us, so we tell them leave it in the mailbox. We could use what they're giving us. They're sharpening our pencil. They're the ones that are teaching us what real chinuch is. People always think that the people that don't come to Ksher Nafshi or that don't chap this mahalach, they think that we're in a whole new track and we're trying to. This is supposed to be with every child. Of course, discipline has to be more with the healthy child than with the unhealthy child. But the unconditional giving and thinking what's good for the child and what's good for me, not what's feeding my ego or my plans for you. It's more what is good for this kid. So basically, why we came here for this Shabbos and the previous Shabbosim is to be together and to realize, all of us, that we have the same story with very different colors and very different levels, obviously, but we're in the same matzif. Lamasa, we're in the same matzif. And we're in a place where, when we leave this Shabbos, if we go back to our regular shuls and neighborhoods, and people don't understand us, what are you doing? What is this whole unconditional chinuch you guys are doing? What is this? So we come here, and this time we came over here to Tveri, to Tzisrul, to the most heiligste Platz, to get chizik from each other. And there's going to be so many speeches throughout Shabbos, and I think we need to try to absorb as much as we can, but at the same time, we came to relax a little, to just be together with other people that are going through the same. One of the things I do I live in Monsey. One of the things I do over there is I work for Project Chai from Chai Lifeline. Project Chai from Chai Lifeline is crisis intervention. I was trained by our team. We were all trained by Dr. Fox, Rabbi Dr. Fox from California. Trauma, intervention. Basically, we are the ones that, if Chaz Hashem lo yaleinu, someone passes away, or if there's some kind, we inform the parents if they lost a child, or vice versa. one of the jobs that I really don't like to do, but every now and then, unfortunately, that's what we do. One of the things that we learned, and I think that this could be for all of us, is that feelings come and go. We cannot control our feelings all the time. Sometimes a person, if it's children that lost their parents, I go with them till after the levaya, till after the burial. I usually go along with them at the beginning of the shiver. A lot of support. And some people come over to me and says, I feel numb. I don't feel anything. Is this normal? I say, yeah, it's normal. You feel numb now. The sibling is standing there and crying and weeping away like there's no tomorrow, and the other one is standing like there's nothing happened. But tomorrow, this kid is crying and the other one is. Feelings come and go. We could be numb. We could feel guilty. Guilty does not have to make sense. It's just a feeling. We feel guilty. Should have, would have, could have feelings. Should have done. I remember this is Shabbaton number 8. I think I spoke already by 7 Shabbatons, and interacting with people. It's unbelievable how many people, after so many years dealing with their kid, they still come to me and says, I don't remember when it happened, but when my kid was in yeshiva, I should have changed in school. When the first time I saw my kid do, they always go back to when it happened. When did this child fall out of the system? When did it happen? And as if we could have changed something. But this is natural, it's human. So throughout Shabbos, you're going to have all kinds of speeches and all kinds of people. You're going to be mingling with other people that are in a similar situation or worse. Or they're going to tell you, I dealt with it this way, I dealt with it the other way. And we're going to start feeling like maybe I should have. It's okay. It's okay to feel anything at any time. If it comes, deal with it. This is normal, this is gesinnt. It's actually very healthy to have it come. It's okay. But the main thing is to know that you're together with other people that are going through the same thing at the same time. That in itself is a very big nechuma. So one said the side, Ish esrei ayi yazoiri el uchiv yom chazak. One yid helps another yid. El uchiv changes the term. Not esrei ayi, his friend. Is uchiv, his brother. Yoimar chazak. We could always help another Yid when they're in a tzura. We could always help them. If a Yid, the Chal Shem Line is in a tzura, you can help them, there's no problem. But the le'uchiv, only someone that's your brother, your sister, that's in the same matzav as you could say chazak, stark dich. You could give chizik only to the other person that's in the same matzav as you. You don't want to get chizik from someone that doesn't understand this matzav. They can help you if they're able to. But chizik, I want to get chazak only from this crowd. I want to get mechizik from people that are in the same matzav as me. Someone else that understands me more or less. They're in the same situation. And mechazik eine the andere. That is the greatest chizik. I cannot go. I remember I was called recently to speak at Mekimi's for people that have families, the animals with health issues and different types. I can't give chizik for something that I wasn't at that time, at that moment, at the same place as them. I was giving them different ideas. You could help them, you could tell them how to deal with their feelings, different stuff, but you cannot come stark dich. You cannot come and tell someone, be chazak, stark dich. But if someone tells you, stark dich, chazak, and they're in the same matzav, you're able to accept it. And for that alone, this is another major factor that we can pick up on this Shabbos, to be mechazik. You're allowed to be mechazik, your brother, because we're all in the same matzav mamash. We always say the word, is this normal? It says normal. What does is this normal mean? Is this accepted? Right? We always say, is it normal that my kid is doing this? Is it normal that I reacted that way? Is it normal? What is this? Is this normal? Meaning, does it fit into other people's perspective? Does the people what is this normal? Is it normal? It's a normale Sach. I always answer, you mean to say, is it balanced? Is it the right thing to do? Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Is it the right thing to do? We all get all these kind of, throughout the year when we're not here together, from good people, but Emma's get to mention. Our family, our parents, neighbors, siblings, even sometimes our local roof would come and tell you different things. You're not allowed to do this. Why are you doing this? You should have. Say, Baruch Hashem, I'm being trained. I have support. I appreciate it, but no thank you. And then they come and they question themselves, but is it normal that I did this? No. Yes, it's normal, because if you picked it up from one of the speeches, or you spoke to anybody over here for the Shabbos, and you listened to Reb Shimon or to any other, if this is normal, yeah, this is normal. This is accepted. What do you mean it's normal? It's normal? No, it's not normal for normal chinuch. But it is normal, accepted, it's balanced, it's something that makes sense in our chinuch and the way we have to deal with this. When do we start giving unconditional chinuch? When do we start giving to a child unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, unconditional, even if it hurts us? When do we start doing that? People think we call it stage 4, right? I don't know if it was familiar. Like there's different levels of a child going O to D, the way the world calls them. He's just fell out of yeshiva, or she. When do we start unconditional chinuch? I think we start unconditional chinuch when they're born. It has nothing to do with the kip. So größer to us, people think that this whole unconditional chinuch starts when your child is totally O to D. There's no way of helping this child anymore. So now the child suddenly realizes the father comes home, the mother comes home from a Shabbaton somewhere. I got a text message once from a group from a few chevren, and one of them is mamash totally dropped the whole, after he was married already, and he left his wife and kids, and his father came to one of the way back to one of the Ksher Nafshi Shabbatons, and I'm in a group with him, and I saw him writing with it. I don't know, my father went to this Shabbaton and he came back and he started telling me he loves me. I never heard him tell me he loves me. He never said it verbally. He hugs me. I don't know what that means, but it's good. At least I'm getting some acceptance at home. Okay, it's better late than never. But unconditional love, unconditional chinuch, unconditional acceptance starts day 1 when the baby's born. And we all do it until the baby's 2-3 years old. The 2-year-olds, I'm not talking about versus discipline or not. Yeah, at a certain stage you cannot discipline anymore. But the love and acceptance starts day 1. We are here, we are the ambassadors of teaching the whole world what chinuch is really meant to be. Chinuch is chayin, is m'lisha chinam, is just giving and loving our children for who they are. Nothing to do with nachas, nothing to do with self-pleasure, with feeding our own ego. This means unconditional chinuch. So matnas chinuch. Matnas chinam. Matnas chinuch. Chinuch is unconditional. What is chinuch? If there's a condition, if there's a tanai, it's not chinuch. I'm gonna give you this gift, the regular child, the 10-year-old, 15-year-old regular child. Tati, I want to have this. If for the next few weeks your beginner, your test is going to be 100, and Mitzin, I'll get it for you. What did you tell your child? If you are going to serve me, then I am going to have nachas, I'm going to have joy, my ego is going to be fed from then I'll give it for you. I want to get it to you. I want to give it to you. You want to have this new bike? Of course I want to give it to you. Can't wait to give you something. But I'm here to help you grow. You're a regular good kid. I know you could make a little better in your beginner. I know you could be a little, you want to try? Let's try for a few weeks. I'll get it to you then. But really you deserve it already. It's not something I don't want to spoil my kids. I don't want to just give you too much. I want you to feel that you earn. I want you to try a little extra. That's unconditional chinuch. It's not a condition. It's not conditional, but it's conditional if they feel that it's to feed you. And as we know very well, that today's kids, I don't know since when it started, but the last 20 years for sure, the children today have a special nose. They're able to smell hypocrisy from 10 miles away. They know if every single word that the teacher said in school or the father said, was it, this word they said because it was for their ego, this is because they want to really help me. The children know. Sie wissen alles. They can't stand hypocrisy. They can't stand a hypocrite. They can't stand if you're doing it with negias. They want it to be raw, real, authentic as possible. So when we are mechanech kids and you're doing it for their sake, total selfless, they're going to know. Even our mistakes, they'll be able to handle. But if we do it for our own ego, we do one mistake, they'll make sure to mention it to us again and again. And you remember then, they're going to remind you exactly when you did this, you did that. I went to camp and you didn't tell me this, and you turned away because you saw my teacher and you didn't want to. They know it in a second. You're lucky if they tell you. If they don't tell you, they still know it. They just don't tell you. The reason we are mechanech our kids and are helping our kids is not because we want to bring them back to Yiddishkeit. Nobody came here for Shabbos to pick up a formula of how to bring back our children to Hashem. So why did we come? We came to figure out how to make their life easier, how to help them go through their painful time in their life. A kip is literally a kid in pain. Emotional, immense pain. Some of them were traumatized physically, and some of them were traumatized by hypocrisy. I'm not sure which one does bigger damage. I'm telling you, I work hands-on with teenagers on a daily basis for many, many years, probably 16, 17 years. There are much more trauma victims, trauma of hypocrisy, of being lied to, than actually being victims to trauma, molestation, or bullied, and anything else, which is terrible. I'm not sure which one is worse. Children growing up in a community and being told one thing, and then they chap another thing, it kills them. I remember I don't know how old I was, 8, 9, 10 years old, and I was in my uncle's house. It was Tanas Esther. And I was under the dining room table together with my cousin, and we were playing, I don't know what it was. I saw my uncle walk in, a yid mit a große boot, looks left and right, and nobody sees it, takes a piece of cake and eats it. I can't tell you what that did to me. And this is a tiny little story. It's mamish, it rages. We got older, we knew who he was, sure, they didn't, but I have a friend that's in a Detroit now, with a friend, and he's talking to me, telling me that he was very upset with one of the Rabbunim in the Bez, and he felt that he's a hypocrite, that he's not honest, and he knows the Baldin, and I told him, you cannot talk about this in front of your kids. They'll grow older, they'll be ready, you can talk to them. This is mamish, damaging them. It's traumatizing them. It's trauma. Hypocrisy is trauma. Therefore, it's so important to be real. And I could tell my child, I'm sorry, yesterday I was angry, I threw a word I shouldn't have. Boom. I'm not a hypocrite. I have no problem telling my child, being real and saying, this is my schwachkeit. I'm not so good at it. This is something that I still need to work on. They know it anyway, so why shouldn't I tell it to them? They know it. Our children know us better than, we know our parents better than they think we know them. Same with our children. They know us even better. Today's kids, they know exactly who we are, why we do every single thing. So the reason we came for Shabbos is to help them ease the pain of all these kind of traumas. And avada, the end result, be'ezras Hashem, is going to be that they're going to get healed. And anybody that's healed, there's no reason not to be a frum yid. But they cannot feel for 1 second that you are giving them unconditional, because then it's not then it's conditional. That you're giving them unconditional love because you want to bring them back to Yiddishkeit. If that's in your head, they're going to feel it. They're going to know it. Tati, mami are makar of me because they're scared that my next step is going to be a tattoo. And they want to bring me back to their Yiddishkeit. We are not trying to bring our children back to Yiddishkeit. The more you're going to know this in your head, the faster they're going to actually come back. The Irish self. And also we are not bringing them back because of our image, our family image, our ego. It's a fit nicht, it's a passt nicht. By the way, Yiddish is my first language, but it's still not the rich Yiddish like my Zayde used to speak. So I never knew what the word passt nicht. But what's my passt nicht? So someone explained to me, it's a passt nicht. It doesn't fit. I think that was the closest translation. It doesn't fit. Our family has to look this way. And I have a child walking around with pants in the street. My daughters walk around with pants. My son is walking around with the earring this long. Hashem chose us to become pure. We are the tzaddikim of the generation. Hashem chose us to become ausgearbeitet, 100% selfless. And we realize, and we are the ones that are spreading the word, that coming out from this, the vibes are going into the world. That chinuch means selfless. Chinuch means not about me. How can I help each and every child of mine grow up the best they can? Help them grow up the best they can. They should make smart choices. So we are not bringing them back to Yiddishkeit. And as I always say, Yiddishkeit is the last thing that they drop. And that's going to be the last thing that's going to come back. When your child takes off the yarmulke, this is the last thing they're doing. It started already 2 years before, if not 5 years before, the whole story. We only realize it when they stop wanting to go back to Cheder or to school. Just had a couple came to me this week, a Sunday. They said, 14-year-old, they want to make sure they're not going to go in the wrong direction. The daughter doesn't want to go to school anymore. They switched her to a different high school, and they're working with her less curriculum, they're not going to teach her this, and just the basics, and they want to. I said, it didn't start over here. It's good that you're coming now. You're not coming later, but it didn't start over here. No, she was a great kid till now. Really. Where is she in the family? Number 2. How's your older daughter? It's a daughter. Okay. How's that? Oh, she's phenomenal. She was the crown prince from the family. She was mom. The older sister. I said, so how was this girl supposed to feel like? All her life, growing up, knowing the older kid is always the one helping and always the one getting she's a different nature. She didn't want to help at home as much as the older kid. She was not looking for her mother's approval. So that's why she didn't do extra babysitting at home. She didn't do the extra. So she always felt. That's where it started. So that's what we're going to fix. We fix the trigger. We don't fix the behavior after the trigger. We can't fix after the behavior. We have to fix the trigger. And most of the times, it's not the trigger is some kind of trauma, as we said before, or it's hypocrisy or anything like that. So unconditional chinuch means that we become tzaddikim gemirim. And this is the Shabbaton. I think it's a perfect place. The heiligste Platz in the Welt is that it's a Tzirol. In Tveria, we're coming together. It's not a coincidence. Hashem wants us all over here, tzaddikim and tzedkunias, to be in this room. But lamasa, we're physical beings. We have feelings, we have emotions, and we still need to go home with some ideas. We still need to know how to do things. That's why we came for Shabbos. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, the last Lubavitcher Rebbe, was a 7-year-old kid before the war. He was walking around over there. I don't know where he lived. And there was a lot of Frei Yidden over there. There was this, the Maskilim had a big, in Russia, they had a big koich over there. So there's all the Yid sees this Mendel walking around with the yarmulke, and he says, Mendel, why you walk around with the yarmulke? You make a chil Hashem. Make chil Hashem. So he says, what do you mean? It says the Shulchan Aruch. You should go with the yarmulke. He says, take it off, it'll be my Avera. Mendel answered him, what does it matter to Hashem if you're the one doing the Avera or I'm doing the Avera? This is very powerful. This is a very selfless statement. Hasidus teaches, when you do a mitzvah, you don't just do the mitzvah because you want to get schar. Of course you're going to get schar. Endless schar. You're doing it because Hashem wants a year to do this mitzvah now at this time. The whole world, ganz Klal Yisrael, the whole world has hanua of the shefa and all the great oiras and lights that it brings down to this world. And the nachas riach that it gives to Hashem. Sometimes we grow up as such a selfish chinuch. It's still good. We have to... How do you motivate a 14-year-old bucher to want to learn? It's like, you're going to get schar every minute, every Torah. It's true. But by the Hasidim hat man gesagt, l'shaim yichet Ksher b'richi, b'shem Klal Yisrael, that every mitzvah you do is in the name of ganz Klal Yisrael. It's a little different chinuch. Teaching selfless chinuch. If I have a kipp at home, it's not my kipp, it's Klal Yisrael's kipp. If I'm doing a mitzvah now, it's not only my mitzvah, it's Klal Yisrael's mitzvah. And if I do Chaz Hashem an Aveira, the opposite, I am harming Klal Yisrael. As the Gemara says, every time you do a mitzvah, you should think like the vukshal is, the world could sway this way and that way in every deed that we do. It's alluding to this idea. To become selfless needs a lifetime of avodah. And then Hashem comes to us and He handpicked all of us and He says, I'll give you a child. Yeah, we'll blame this Rebbe, we'll blame that, but Lamasa, you have a kipp at home. And the only way out, if anybody saw the comic Ve'er for Shabbos to get, that we're going to give you the magic button, and coming home, you press that button, your child is, Surah Imani, not happening. Selfless. We are shlichim from the Eibush. Hashem gave us a shlichus. And the shlichus is not, my kipp is not my kipp. My kipp is Klal Yisrael's kipp. My son that grew up a Talmud Chochem, or my daughter that grew up a Surah Maini, is Klal Yisrael's child. Everybody is doing a shlichus. We are shlichim for the Rebbeinu Shalom. And a shliach is someone that has to be totally selfless. It's not about me. I'm being sent by someone to do a mission. Is it about me? It's not about me. I was sent by someone to do a shlichus. The only thing is that we're human and we're sitting in this body that has all kinds of feelings and keeps telling us, feel guilty, you should have done this, you would have, could have. And once we go into that trap, then it's my child, my kipp, my fault, my neighbor's fault, that one's fault. And if it is someone's fault, let Hashem take care of that. We need to know for ourselves that's the Eibishter's kind. How many kids were traumatized and went through every problem in the world and they grew up tzaddikim gemira? Their parents didn't do anything better than us. Hashem wanted that child to grow up this way. At the end of the day, if someone grows up a certain way, this is the way they're supposed to be. This is unconditional chinuch. Unconditional chinuch means that it's not about me, it's about the child. And it's not only the kipp. Every child, whatever they need at that moment, it's not about my kuvit, it's not about my image, and it's not about Yiddishkeit, it's about helping them go through their own journey. I want to end with showed me I should end. I want to end with an interesting story that just happened. I was once by Shabbaton with, I spoke by Shabbaton by sister to sister, and right neighbor was sitting Rabbi Pesach Kron, because the speakers were sitting together on the table. And I asked him this question. I was quite new. I started, it's like 15 years ago, whenever it was, and I said, how is it that speakers always have these stories that happen to them? And he said, Taka, because you have the mic, Hashem is going to give you stories. Maybe that's why Hashem gave me a kipp. I don't know. Klal Yisrael's kipp. On the plane, the way here yesterday, I took along a little safer. On the way, it was, extra time. You can't sleep mamish the whole time. And I was looking at a few shine teurelich and Sachen, and I see an unbelievable story. And the story is, and my wife was chulaming up and down. She woke up and I said, I want to share with you an unbelievable masa. What's the story? The Heilige Baal Shem Tov went somewhere in the woods, in the forest. He was walking with his Talmud, Reb Moshe Mikolaev, I think his name was. Mikolaev, I know for sure. Reb Moshe, Reb David. I think Reb Moshe Mikolaev was one of his greatest Talmidim. And they were walking, and this Reb Moshe was so thirsty. He was mamish. He couldn't, and there was no water to be found. There was no cars. There was no kiosk. There's no convenience stores. But he was mamish thirsty. So he tells the Baal Shem Tov, "Ich kenne nicht." So Baal Shem Tov said, "How betochen Hashem will help you." She closes his eyes and says, "Rebbeinu Shloim, I know you could do anything, even in this desert, in this desolate place. You could get me water." And he mamish felt it with the emes. He opens up his eye. A guy comes with a big barrel of water, and it says, "I'm looking already 3 days for my horses. They ran away, and I need to feed. Have you come across them? They're probably going. They need water." So he said, "No, we didn't see, but I'm so thirsty. Can I have some water?" He gave him water. So the Baal Shem Tov told him, "You see, you have betuchim." So he was a smart Talmud and says, "Rebbe, 1 minute. I just had betuchim right now. This guy is already running around for 3 days with water. How does that fit in the whole betuchim story?" He says, "The Eibishter knew that you are going to be here at this time. If you would have betuchim, Hashem would make sure that He should find you. If not, He would walk a different way." Of course, Hashem knows the situations we're going to be in. We could alter the little zach with betuchen, and really hope betuchen, the Eibishter got helfen, and that's how the guy found you. I'm telling this story to my wife, and we were talking about different challenges we have now at the moment, and we said we're going to try to focus on it. I fall asleep. I wake up. My wife couldn't wait to tell me something. She just tears running down her eyes. I said, "What's the geschehen?" "Yesterday on the plane." She says, "You don't understand." She's not interested in watching what they have, so she has a phone. There's no Wi-Fi, nothing, but she has in there all these hundreds and hundreds of shiurim. She signed up to one of these, these 5-minute clips that come in these voice notes from different speakers all around the world. And so she's scrolling. It's all, and you go into files, to my files, and you see hundreds of audio files. She goes random. She clicks on one of them. She tells me, and she listens. And the guy, whoever it was, that Baldash, said exactly this story. What are the odds? I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, but probably 1 in a billion. That I should read the story. Pinked a few minutes later, she randomly opened up a zach, and noch einmal pinklich derselbe Maße. She corrected me with one detail. 2 shittas in the Maße. If it was himself, or was someone sent him to go find the horses. But it was not. So I told my wife, I need to tell the story over here for Shabbos. If this happened yesterday on the way to Etzisril, I need to share this. The Baal Shem Tov had ausgelernt a secret. He gave us a secret, and I saw it in the cipher from his Einike Reburig Meshbeshe. I just bought the cipher mit Zinder. It happens to be that Einike for Reburig Meshbeshe, and the Baal Shem Tov sits there, and his father actually gave out the cipher. It's interesting, I tell you. So Reburig Meshbeshe writes that his grandfather said, the Heilige Baal Shem Tov hat gesagt, every time Hashem wants to send a Gezerah for Yid, Hashem tests him with betuchen. If he does not, or he or she does not lose betuchen, the Gezerah cannot penetrate the Olamis, it cannot come to this person. Therefore, whenever you have an assign, don't lose your connection, your betuchen in the Eibishter. Hashem could send you water being 3 days in the woods. He could find you. People switch. People do interesting things. I got a phone call from a woman that was 2 Shabbatons back, I remember, in Brooklyn. Her husband had a terrible accident, and ever since, a few of the kids became kips. And one of them was one of my Talmud. I'm a Magid by Barry Weber, has yeshiva for OTD kids, almost OTD kids, and he was one of my Talmidim, and then he totally dropped everything, went onto weed, onto Allah. And the mother she calls me up, Mamish recently, she sent me a WhatsApp, she says, my son said he wants to have a 5-minute shir. Can you find me someone? And she asked me if I could do it. I said, absolutely. I learn with him 5 minutes a day. And if I'm not, I'm quite busy, Baruch Hashem. If I'm not available, he'll run after me for 5 minutes. Mamish. How did it happen? I don't know. Tefillas. There's nothing changed in the situation. And this is the day that we're waiting for. And to help it, the best way to bring it is not to wait for it. We're not waiting there to come back to Yiddishkeit. We're here to help them and ease their pain while they're in it. So the Eib should help them, that's going to help them bring back. Okay, so I'm going to end with this. The Eib should help them that we should all be zeicher to pick up the best advice throughout Shabbos and should be mechazik, ishas ra'ai yazayri. We are brothers, we are sisters, we are here to help each other and to be chizik one to another and to appreciate all the gita zachen that Hashem gave us. And hopefully we're not going to have to go back to New York. Mashiach is going to come. Our children are going to bring us our packages, our luggage.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.